had quite a good number of people who signed up to show up today to learn about the Ursalink 102 Ambience monitoring sensor, and we're going to give a full breakdown of the sensor and unboxing of it. We're going to talk about use cases. So the show is very interactive. Not sure, how many. Quite a good number. Not sure how many of you guys have been in our shows before, but we really like audience participation. You can put your questions in the chat, but also in the Q&A. So towards the end of the show, we do, questions, but we also do it in the middle of the show. So do me a favor, if you guys can start telling me, whereabouts in the world are you calling in from? Are you coming in from the US, from China, whereabouts in the world? So let's start seeing in the chat so we can start calling out some names here. Let's take a look here in the chat.
Yeah, and if there's some repeat people in here, is kind of what you're seeing here is, all the different partners that we have and partners that make devices for different things, and they're also useful, and everybody's, kind of the expert at what they do. So today with Ursalink, we're talking about air quality specifically. We had the predictive maintenance one with Advantech before, and we've got a bunch more lined up. So thank you for our repeat viewers, and for those of you that are new, this is going to be a lot of fun. It's a casual kind of environment, and we're going to talk about a really cool and really relevant use case right now, which is air quality monitoring, especially with COVID and all the things that are happening in the world. This has become really, really important. So yeah, thank you. Like Kevin said, thanks for joining, and please fill up that chat. Let us know where you're from and what's going on and what brought you here. And
yeah. So I see Ken from Houston is in, and then we've got Juan coming in from Colombia, South America, and we're here in Los Angeles, California. In fact, if we look out the window here, we're right across the street from Warner Brothers. So we'll say hi to Ellen DeGeneres for you guys. We've got Austria, Alexandra from Austria. We've got Mahed from H-Town. Okay, where's H-Town? I don't know where H-Town is. What's H-Town?
Yeah, what is H-Town?
And you're going to say it, and then we'll be like, oh, okay. And then we've got Matt from Toronto, Canada in the house. Love it. We've got Ariel from Argentina. Houston, of course, that's H-Town. How would I not know that that's what H-Town is?
Obviously.
Yeah.
How many other H cities can you come up with?
We're in L-Town right now, Los Angeles, California. Jessica, where are you calling in from?
Well, currently I'm staying in China. Yes, and yes, mainland of China, Xiamen City is our is our seaside city.
I can't hear you, Jessica.
Oh, really? You cannot hear me?
Can you read her lips?
No, you have to type in the chat maybe. Okay, so should we get the show on the road?
Yeah, let's get started. So I think what we're gonna do is basically we're gonna start with a level set. We're gonna just show a really quick overview video of my devices, who we are, what we do, just to kind of level set everything, and it'll play into our partner Ursalink today. It's part of this whole ecosystem. I think that's probably the best way to get started is just with this really quick video. So I'm actually going to share my screen and pull this video up, and we'll go from there. So here we go. We're going to pull up the overview video and let it play. Here's how My Devices makes it easy to deploy hundreds of sensors and solutions. Here are a few of the My Devices gateways. They can connect with sensors within thousands of feet indoors or miles outdoors. To activate, simply plug into power and then scan the QR code. My Devices offers a library of over 400 different solutions and sensors that are all pre-programmed and pre-configured to work without any additional effort. I'm going to say that again. My Devices offers over 400 different sensors and solutions that are all pre-programmed and pre-configured to work without any additional effort. Just scan it and use it. You can choose from any of the pre-packaged solutions like Push and Protect, SimplySense, Countario, or mix and match from our library of devices to build your own solution. Once you find the solution you're looking for, use the My Devices app to scan the QR code. This automatically activates your device on the network as well as on the My Devices app or any third-party app or platform of your choice. By using the My Devices app, you have the ability to leverage our powerful set of features. You can manage multiple locations, Select a specific location to see the sensor data associated with that location. Select a specific device to view historical data based on that sensor. Set alert thresholds based on the device data. Set an unlimited list of contacts to receive alerts via text and/or email. Set alert rules like don't alert me during certain times or change the alert conditions at certain times. Use our sensor mapping tool to visualize data on a floor map. Add corrective action notes to devices in alert state. Add an unlimited list of contacts with different user permissions like can view, can edit, or admin. And take normalized, decoded data and forward to any third-party app or platform for customized reporting, automated work ticketing, digital checklists, and more. By licensing the platform, you have access to all of these plug-and-play solutions and features, and you can customize the app with your logo and your colors to integrate seamlessly with your business. My Devices gives you the ability to easily deploy over 400 different sensors and solutions on any network. For more information or to begin deploying. All right, guys, we'll stop it there. So just to kind of reiterate a little what that video said, for those of you out there that are integrators or resellers and you've got customers and you're looking for ways to offer IoT to them, we give you the ability to take your gateway, right? This becomes your gateway and deploy it simply by just plugging it in. It turns on and now it becomes compatible with over 400 different sensors. So, you can see things like pest control, water submetering, predictive maintenance, temperature monitoring, and air quality, like what we're going to talk about today. Just by plugging that gateway in, you get access to all of that. And some of the deployments that our partners are deploying in are arenas and restaurants, universities, campuses, farms, labs. You name it, we've had deployments there, and it's because of this huge library of devices that no matter what the problem is, there's not a lot of things that come up, not a lot of customers that come to our partners and say, hey, I need to solve for this. We can't find a sensor for. So specifically today, we're going to be talking about, My Devices, Ursalink, this device here, which is the air quality sensor from Ursalink. So that's who we have on the call today, and that's what we're going to be talking about. So I don't know if Jessica, if your mic is your volume back on, if you, like maybe a quick introduction, or I think we have also Mona on the phone too. If you guys just want to introduce yourself, just really quickly, just who you are, a little about your background, and yeah.
Yes, that's great. Let me start with thanks very much for inviting us to join this co-webinar. I think it's a great work you did with integrating our ambience monitoring sensor with your platform. And my name is Jessica Yao, and I'm calling from Xiamen, China. It's a seaside city and just 1 hour, 1.5 hours by airplane from our city to Taiwan. So we are the closest city from the mainland of China to Taiwan. So welcome to here. And it's 3 a.m. right now. So thanks. Very good morning.
Oh no, it's 3 a.m. You look actually quite well rested. It's you're looking good at 3 a.m. I got to tell you.
Yeah, I'm trying my best to keep alarm, to keep.
Starting your day or ending your day? Is it the beginning or the end of your day?
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so just to show a little more about this device, we did the overview video of the platform, right, or My Devices and what we do. I think next what we're going to do, since the star of the show today is really this device here, we're now going to show a really short video that's specific to this device for air quality monitoring.
And actually, maybe before we jump into this, Jessica, what exactly is your role inside the organization? I'm sorry, maybe I missed that. Can you tell me what your role is that you do for Ursalink?
Yes, sure. You mean our logo, our image?
Well, what you do personally for the company, what do you do at Ursalink?
Okay, I got it. Well, I'm responsible for the marketing department, and mainly my job is for the webinar and for the product training internally.
Excellent. Okay, and I know Mona is also on the line. She is on the technical side. Is that correct?
Yes, Mona is coming from our technical support. Mona.
Great.
Hello, this is Mona. I am a field application engineer from Ursalink, and I'm from the technology center in our company.
Wonderful. And remind me, where is the technology center again?
Okay, it's in the it's in the same company, it's in the same office.
Got it. Okay, fantastic. So after we showed the opening for the unboxing of your device, we're going to ask you lots of questions about where it's deployed, maybe some customer deployments, and then Cameron will do a full demo of the product as well. But yeah, did you want to go ahead and kick off?
Yeah.
With the...
So we'll go ahead and do the video.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Here's the unboxing of the air quality sensor from Ursalink. The Ursalink AM100 series device is a device used to monitor environmental conditions indoors. It does things like temperature or carbon dioxide or other things that are important to indoor environment. The target applications for this device include residential management, office space, hotels, and schools and universities. This device is rated IP30, has over 1 year of battery life, uses 2 AA batteries, and has an operating temperature between 0 and 45 degrees Celsius. Included in the box is the AM100 or 102 module, 2 mounting screws, 1 mounting sticker, and the quick start guide. Like with all of our devices, you simply scan the QR code to begin using the device on any platform. The data types included in the AM100 version are temperature, humidity, motion, and light. With the AM102 version, you also get CO2, TVOC, and pressure. The device has a really sleek design. On the front, you'll notice the e-ink display, which basically is the same technology that you'd see on a Kindle. It shows temperature, humidity, battery life, as well as the date and time. Also on the front of the device, you'll see the motion sensor as well as the light sensor. To begin using the device, you flip the device over, remove the battery cover, insert the batteries, and then put the cover back. To power the device on or off, press the power button on the back panel for 3 to 5 seconds. To mount the device, first attach the mounting sticker to the wall and then drill screws into the holes following the instructions on the sticker. Then, using the mounting holes on the back panel, mount the device. And that's it for this device. All you need to do next is just scan it and use it, and it can work in any application and any platform. All right, guys, so that is the Ursalink air quality device. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Again, just like with everything, just scan it into the app and it, it works. And this one has a really interesting use case that's been really popular recently. So what do you suggest? So should we?
Jessica, tell us about some of the use cases where you see deployments.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and we'll explain some of the deployments we have with some of our customers, but we'd love to hear from your guys' side. So tell us, some of the customers that are currently utilizing this device.
Of course, here I have some real case studies to show you the diversity of where you can use, where you can deploy our solutions. The type of customers, such as in office, in museums, in classrooms, and also you can do it in labs. Well, for example, currently we have a customer from our domestic of China, from our museum, very famous museum in China. He deployed our AM100 to the ambience monitoring sensors in the museums. Well, in the past, you have several challenges that monitoring those kind of parameters. Well, you have a few options that you can monitor the temperature, monitor the humidity, or monitor the air quality or the personal activities. But maybe they are coming with different types of sensing technologies, or the wireless monitoring of a high density or several sensors in a small area, or you don't have the permanent power supplies for this kind of monitoring equipment, or it's a very high cost, or it's the operational maintenance that requires the manpower. So I think customers doesn't like that layout, I think. So the limited staff the resources that you need to collect. You need to manage the data from the traditional device like the loggers or the analog thermohydrograph, those kind of sensors, traditional devices. That obviously would increase the maintenance. So in this case, in this solution, that we can take use of this AM102, this ambience sensor that you can monitor all of those 7-in-1 parameters that in the museums, in the labs, that you can save your cost and improve your productivity.
And so some of the sensing on here makes sense to me, right? Like motion, right? And light, like that's easy, temperature, humidity. What's TVOC? I know I've seen it. I know it's for air quality, but do you know, like, what exactly is TVOC? I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is?
No. Yeah, I know it's important because people ask about it all the time and we say we have it, you know, with the sensor, but yeah, I don't know specifically, like, yeah, that'd be interesting to know.
Well, TVOC is the total volatile organic compounds. I think there are several. We don't have the international standards for this TVOC. So I checked from several countries like your American Public Health Association that TVOC will influence below or smaller than 20 ppb. It means that in that conditions, you can stay your health and stay comfortable inside. So TVOC is just one of the parameters that we can know whether our existing environment is good enough.
We have, I'll share one of my screens. So when we scan the sensor into our app, it shows up here. And so we have one installed, one of our customers installed it in their facility, and you can see how the data shows up. So you have the pressure here, you've got the CO2, which is parts per million, relative humidity, activity, temperature, so on and so forth. So it's nice to be able to see all this different data coming in off of this one device. You want to kind of talk through?
Yeah, and even so, we've seen it in universities as well. I think this one is actually like a real estate company that's, you know, looking to put these inside of their buildings. But we've also seen these in like college campuses and universities requesting this. And this is cool inside of the dashboard, you know, with the chart views and everything. So you can really kind of see trends and things like that. And you know, having the ability inside of this dashboard with other devices alongside of it, we've even seen different trends, like how does the TVOC relate to room occupancy with people counting and things like that. You know, if a bunch of people in a room, does CO2 rise and does TVOC rise, and you can see correlations and things like that. And also inside of the app, you know, we can do alert settings. So like if TVOC is above or below certain areas where it's supposed to be, you can just simply go into the alerts section here and just, you know, create an alert, set thresholds, and say, hey, here's the people that, you know, we want to alert via text or email, you know, if those thresholds are broken. So yeah, when it comes to like those different values, being able to visualize them, you know, we make it really easy to kind of to manage all of that. So the other thing too is the pressure on there. Like what's the significance of actually having the pressure? Because I know I get like temperature, like there's a lot of like environmental conditions like temperature, humidity, TVOC, CO2, all of that. But what does the pressure tell us? Or, you know, can you give us some insight on like what's unique about that or what's valuable about the pressure data?
I can answer that question. I know one of our customers, right? So here's at a hospital, one of the things that's very important is the pressure on different sides of the room. So for example, they want to make sure that the air is flowing in a certain direction. Sorry, I'm not pointing at you.
No, hit me in the face.
So you can put one of these on one side of the door, and you can put one of these on the other side of the door, so that there's negative air pressure, which is really important. You know, you don't want bad germs coming this way. So if the air pressure is going this way, then that's a good thing. So we see like hospitals or clinics and stuff like that. Very timely for COVID right now. We think this is a great device. I mean, it looks good. It's like you said, it's wireless, battery powered, scan it in, and it can solve for so many different things. It's one of the more popular ones. So hospitals is a good one for pressure. I know that.
Yep.
And curious to know anybody in the audience if they have any questions or experience with certain things that they would like to know about this particular device. So go ahead and fill up the chat or Q&A questions, and let's see if there's any questions that are coming in here.
Yep. And that's the wireless part. Let's like maybe dive into that a little bit more, because I know, Jessica, you had mentioned that, and what we see is a lot of times there's legacy systems that are installed in these facilities and buildings, and there are hardwired systems, and they don't really get any data out of it. So unless you're like in the building staring at the screen, you have no idea what's going on in your building, right? Which is with the world the way that it is now, everything's going to the cloud, and people want to remotely monitor things, and fewer employees to cover a wider area. Like that's what we hear constantly from real estate companies, facility management companies. So that this really enables that, and then being able to take this and just wirelessly mount it onto a wall, like you saw in that video, right? Like you just drill it to the wall, or 3M stick it to the wall, and you're done. Like you just turn it on, and now all of a sudden you've got the data coming in, right? Like that's magical for some people. When like you think it's so simple, right? Like we're in this world of everything's becoming wireless, but what we're replacing used to cost thousands and thousands of dollars just to install the thing, just to plug it in and get power to it and get sensors on it. So it really is replacing something, and we've made it really, really easy. And at Ursalink, you guys have made this really easy to use device as well. So.
Yeah. So Amy asked, would this device be appropriate for, let's say, a server room? So yes, I mean, temperature, humidity, pressure, all those things matter inside of server rooms. And you can combination this. Maybe you'd put this in here and also have a leak sensor that's in there. But heat is very important inside a server room, so it's fantastic for that. Another attendee is asking, there's 2 versions of the sensor. What makes them different? So Jessica or Mona, what makes the difference between the 2 different sensors? Because they look almost identical, but what makes them different?
Well, yes, we do have 2 versions. One is the AM100 and another is the 102. The main difference is the parameters, the functionalities inside. AM102 is the advanced version that is 7-in-1 features. So you can monitor temperature, humidity, and like personal activity, lightness, and TVOC, carbon dioxide, and finally barometric pressure. But for another version, the simple version, basic version, that only 4 of them, only the temperature, humidity, and PI motion, and also the lightness. So that's the only difference. The other functionalities, that's the problem. All the other design, I mean, the power supply and the color and the installation, they are the same.
Yeah. And so, so what you're saying is basically one of them has all the sensors and the other one just has a few of it, which of course I would imagine then affects the price of the device. So the one that only has a few is less expensive. The one that's got all of them is more expensive. Okay.
Yes, you are right. Absolutely, because we want to have the most cost-effective solution for our customers. So you can choose it according to your budget.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's good to be able to have options, right? So somebody says, I need the pressure or whatever it is, okay, sure, but that's the version 2, which is a little more expensive. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And one of the other questions is, since the sensor is wireless, one of the people is asking, how long does the battery last on this? Jessica or Mona, how long does the battery last on these devices?
Mona? I only?
Yes.
Okay, yes, of course. So if in default, the sensor will work in spread factor 7. It's a LoRaWAN parameter that we use as default. And in that mode, the sensors will last for about 1 year and more than 1 year.
Okay. And then
change with its internal batteries, yes.
And basically, to change the battery, it's just, I would imagine, just a matter of just opening up the background here.
Yes, and you can buy the batteries locally from your supermarkets.
Just AA.
Yeah, it's super easy.
I see. Okay. And then maybe Cameron, you want to show inside the application? So what happens is we actually, inside of our application that you guys can white label, we do have alerts and alarms where we can notify you if the battery is getting low. So he's going to show you maybe just a demonstration of the application itself, and then we'll kind of talk through some of the features here. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So on the screen here, what you're seeing is basically the map view here. So what happens is from the app you can monitor multiple locations. So if I zoom out here, you can actually see this would be a user that has, let's say, 3 campuses or 3 hospitals or 100 or 10 or whatever, 1,000. You can log in and see all of these locations. Now we have user permissions, which actually allows certain people to see these 3 and other people maybe to only see 1 and somebody else to see 100, just based on what access permissions they're given inside of the app. But let's say I want to know what's going on here. This one's red, so there's some kind of issue going on in this location. So I click on it, and what happens is the list of all of the sensors that we have deployed at that location shows up here. So keep in mind, right, we have over 400 sensors that you can just scan into this app. And I'm gonna, again, this is white label. So you can put your logo and your color. This becomes your app that you're able to offer to your customers, right? So these are all the different sensors that are in that location. So you can see the data readings, the last known data, and all of that. On the right, what Kevin was talking about, you actually have the battery. So you can see when that thing's going to die. You can also see signal strength. So you know if you're getting a good signal out of that device. If I click on one of these sensors, you can actually see historical data. So you can see charts, over time showing that readings, all the readings, so if the different data points, like this one has, I think, like 6 different sensors on it. So you'd actually be able to see the charts for every single different data point that's on there. You can go day, week, month, year, data storage as far back as you can go.
Can I go custom?
Yeah, you can even go custom and say, okay, so I want to know like the last 30 days or in the month of October, what was our air quality like, or what was our occupancy, right? And you can even do times and set all of that. So you can see the historical data how you want.
Now, everything you're showing right now is in a web, but what about mobile?
Yeah, so what happens is actually if I shrink this down, you'll actually see the mobile version of this view. So we have what's called a progressive web app. So this app is available on mobile, Android, iOS, any device. So when I shrink it down, you actually see the mobile view. So that's what would be available from your phone. And what's really cool about using a progressive web app like that is that all of the updates to any app affects all the other apps. You don't have to update the Apple App Store and the Google Play and all of that. So the experience that you have on the computer is the exact same experience you'll get on the phone as well. And then the other way to view historical data is through this table view. So you can see data readings and timestamps, again, signal strength, battery life. And then what you can do is actually go into alert settings here.
And by the way, so just in that view, so you're saying I could see the TVOC, I could see the CO2, I can see the PIR, the light, the temperature, the humidity, the barometric. So everything, all of the sensor readings off this device, I'd be able to see in that historical view. And yeah, okay,
right.
Cool, makes sense.
Yep.
All right.
So
yes.
Go ahead, Jessica.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I think out in your box, I really like your platform. Yes, you make everything is visible on your platform and you can easily check it. So not only from our e-ink screen, not only from this screen, but from your platform. So every old information at glance is on one screen. Yes, over there you can check.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I like it.
Appreciate that. Yeah, it's really important, right? Because a lot of the end customers, like we showed a lot of hospitals and universities and facilities and things like that, and they want everything easy, right? All in one place. That's really what we try to provide. And even things like this, like alert setting, right? So again, this device sends TVOC, CO2, pressure, temperature, light. You can set alerts based on any of those individual data points. So this is showing gallons as an example, right? But whatever the data type is that's being sent from that sensor, you can set alerts and then set thresholds. So
like if the CO2 parts per million,
exactly, yeah, like
a certain level.
If it's parts per million in CO2, or if it's humidity in terms of percentage, or temperature in terms of Fahrenheit, Celsius, Kelvin,
okay.
You can set whatever thresholds you want, 100 parts per million and below 20 parts per million.
Okay.
And then what you can do is even do alert rules. A lot of times people say, okay, this is only important to me if it happens between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. So you can say, only alert me if it breaks the condition within that time frame. Or don't alert me if it just spikes and then comes back down. I only want to know if it's consistently out of that range. So we can say only alert if it remains for 60 minutes, right? So all kinds of different alert rules that can be set there.
And it looks like you can, what kind of messages get sent? Is it SMS, email? How is it, how do you get notified?
Yeah, so these are the contacts, right? So you can add different contacts into your account. So this is like Valerie, Mike, Jim, and we have their email and their phone number. If I want to add more recipients, I can do that, or I can just select which recipients I want to receive those alerts based on that rule that I just set up in that alert. And it can be either text and or email. So it could be one, the other, or both. And then you can even do custom messaging and things like that. But yeah, text and email alerts going out to the people that you want to receive those alerts.
Okay.
Okay, so the other thing here is the sensor map. And this is actually gets really important as you start deploying more and more devices and with facilities, especially with air quality and we talked about hospitals where they actually do negative pressurization. They need to know my clean room needs to be positive or negative air pressure. My dirty room needs to be positive or negative air pressure. But where is it on site? Like if an engineer gets an alert, like we just showed, we can set the alerts. Where is it in the facility? So we can actually upload a floor plan. And then when the device gets placed, you can say, okay, the temperature sensor is right there. And I could drag it exactly where it is on the floor plan. And in fact, if we actually have asset tags we can put in, those would actually move automatically on the floor plan if they're moving around.
So for like indoor asset tracking, you could actually see things moving, is what you're saying.
Right, like
Okay.
if you were tracking a bed or a cart or anything like that, you'd actually see it move in real time on the map.
So like in the server room example, you would be able to put one of these beautiful Ursalink 102s. You'd have all your sensors, your TVOC, your CO2, that would be showing up on that map.
Yep.
But if you wanted to mix that with, let's say, the leak sensor, then you would be able to put that on the map too. And I see in the Q&A, one of the questions Amy asked is, does the 102 sensor have sound levels? And I don't believe it does have sound levels on this, but that's okay because you can get another sound level sensor, scan it in, and immediately add it, and that can be added to the plan as well. So you can mix and match, like Cameron said.
Yep. So like, for example, like in this office, I've dragged these icons in here. So we have a leak sensor, a motion sensor, right? This is a leak sensor that's in alert state because it's red. And if I click on that, I can now see, okay, a leak was detected. Here's who received those alerts that it was detected. And then now somebody can even go in and perform corrective action. So,
and what is corrective action? What does that mean?
Yeah, so like if it's like TVOC is too high or CO2 or the pressure is out of whack, the person responding to that alert needs to indicate what they did to correct that problem. How did they fix it? Because a lot of times these companies want to know, they want to have a log of, okay, the HVAC failed, but John changed the fan. I don't know, making stuff up, but changed the filter.
That was a good makeup.
I know.
I like that.
Yeah, so anyways, and all of that gets stored in what we call a corrective action report. So the customer gets a log of every single alert that's come in, who received the alert, who responded to the alert, and what the action was that was taken. And these fields here are customizable. So you see called maintenance or whatever, but you can edit those and actually put in whatever fields are relevant to the use case.
Now, do people actually have to use the My Devices application? Which, by the way, this application, again, you can rebrand that with your name on there. It takes no time at all, and you'd have your own app that you can deploy these solutions to your customers. So system integrators utilize us, people who have their own platforms, and so on and so forth. But I think what Cameron's going to show you is the integrations. We can also get that data pushed out of our app because many of our customers, well, you go ahead and explain.
Yeah, so this part's actually really, really important, and it's something that, like, Ursalink folks, like, this is why we work so well with different hardware guys. We're able to kind of, we talked to Advantech and now Ursalink, and then even I Am Building, who has a people counter. Those are all different sensors, and each of those companies, like Ursalink, you guys do a great job of air quality, and you know what's going on with that. And Advantech does a really good job of predictive maintenance, and we saw that on one of our previous webinars. And people counting, right? The problem that people are running into, and integrators are running into, is if they want to deploy a people counting solution, they've got to integrate that device into the platform that they want to deploy it on, whether it's a work ticketing system or a reservation platform for conference booking or whatever. Then if they want to then bring in an air quality sensor like from Ursalink, right, that's another integration point into that system. So now they've got to do a bunch of dev work and get that in there. Now they have a third sensor and a fourth sensor. What we enable integrators to do is just scan from over 400 devices, like you've seen in our marketplace here, to mix and match. So if you need a sound sensor added, you can find a sound sensor. If you need a leak sensor, you can add it in. You scan them all in, and then through our integrations, we're able to very easily then forward all of that data into any third-party platform. So whether it's Azure, Amazon, Google, Power BI, Salesforce, or any other system, and then we even have custom webhooks here, so you can send to any third-party URL just by sticking the URL at the endpoint of where you'd like it to go to.
So if somebody wanted to, let's say, send it off to Power BI or some kind of business intelligence tool and create their own dashboard because they have a specific need,
yep,
this is what they would use to send that data.
And it's a one-click integration here, and that's the demo one. Let me show like a real account where it's actually live and would turn on.
Okay.
If I go into Power BI, there's even videos and documentation, all of this, but it's really simple. I just click Connect Power BI, and then I just put in my data set name here. And there's two things that integrate, uplink and alert. So that uplink just means every time this device sends a message, send it to the integration, send it to Power BI as an example. Alert means only when it breaks those alert thresholds that we're talking about, then send that to Power BI. Or you can do both because you might integrate them separate ways. But literally just by clicking this, now it's not just one device, right? So everything I have on this account, and if I pull up this account and go into the manage screen, I've got indoor asset tracking, I've got temperature monitoring, I've got predictive maintenance. Once I open up that integration of Power BI, all of that data through one stream is all going into Power BI. So now I'm not integrating hundreds of devices, I'm integrating one source.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I'm going to ask some questions specific. He'll come back to that in a second, but I do want to ask some questions that are showing up in the Q&A here. So for example, Matt asked, what's the largest room size this device can be applied to before requiring two? Or how many sensors per square foot is required in larger spaces for accurate atmospheric monitoring? I guess it's a really good question, right? And I don't know the answer to that, but Jessica or Mona, do you guys know, like if you put this into a room, approximately how big that room it would cover versus like when you would need to put another one? Do you know the answer to that, Jessica or Mona?
Yes. Mona, do you want to answer this question?
Okay, hello. The question is mainly about the air condition like monitoring, is that right? So this may be related to the like airflow in the room. So we don't know how flat or how even the air is in the room. So it's recommended to put it where you would like to monitor the most important places.
I see. So there's no real formula for like how many square feet. It's just a matter of if this is the space that you want to monitor, you put one there. And if there's another space, so maybe not so specific, but do you know like how far away, like a CO2, for example, if I was 10 feet away, do you know it would make a difference? I guess it matters on how much airflow is in the room, like you said, right? So if the air is being changed quite a bit, versus if we're in a closed room, I'm assuming, am I accurate with what I'm saying?
Yes, it's more like limited in the PIR monitoring, the motion monitoring. It has its own monitoring like range, where you can only be detected when you are in its detecting range.
Yes, because I think the other parameters, I think the temperature, humidity is not so much related to the size of the room, how big it is. But I think our personal activity, the PIR function, as Mona mentioned, that is much more closer to the size. Like it can only detect the motion in the direction of 94 horizontal and 28 degree the vertical, and only within 5 meters. Yes, for that PI motion.
So the distance, so this is the one that if you're further than 5 meters away, maybe it won't get the person moving. And also it's like an eye that looks like this.
Yes.
Yes. But the bigger circle in the middle is the light sensor, and the PIR sensor is the smaller one. Yes.
This is PIR.
Yes.
Ah, see, I knew I was going to learn something new. Wow,
yeah, that's interesting.
Okay, so light.
In the middle is light.
PIR.
Okay.
Oh, good. Well, now from now on, whenever I show people, I won't point to the wrong sensor.
I know I
keep pointing to this one. It's PIR. So
we've got some damage control to do, I think.
Yeah. So there's another technical question. Radim is asking, what kind of sensor for the CO2 is inside? Is it IR or is it electrochemical? I don't know. Maybe Mona?
It's IR. Yes, it's IR.
What's the difference?
Obviously.
What's the difference?
Okay, so if we measure the like CO2 or other gas condition with IR sensors, then there's only physical functions going on. There's no new products or old products that's going to change. So it won't affect existing environment. It's very safe to your current air conditioning.
Okay. is it is one more accurate than the other, or does one? I know like CO2 has to sometimes be calibrated. What does IR like less calibration, or is the other one need more calibration? Which one's more accurate? Just curious because I've heard that before with CO2 sensors.
Electric chemical one would require more calibration because, as I mentioned before, it might include some like chemical products coming in or coming out. So sometimes we need to replace the old ones with new materials. So we chose the IR one that is more stable to use.
Okay, that totally makes sense. Now, there's things I've learned what this thing is, and I've learned the difference on the CO2. So you're making me smarter today. This is very good. There's another question. And some of these I'm reading live, so hopefully they don't say bad things here, and I got the answer. So Alexandra is asking, is an alarm displayed if someone in the room has a fever, for example, in times like Corona? This would be very good. Convincing argument. I know the answer to that. The answer is no. Not for this particular device. There are other devices we have that are thermal scanners that you can walk in and you can get, temperature and you can get alerted. We have those, but this is more ambient room temperature. So this would not be for that, but you could use it in combination with like a thermal, just for a COVID back to work type of solution. Diane is asking a question. What is the opening discovery question for a prospect? I have hundreds of customers of other technology. I've never thought to open the conversation on this. How do I make that approach? So this is a good business question. So Diane wants to know, how does she sell this? And since he's the sales guy around here, I'm going to put him on the spot. What do you think?
Okay, so if it were me, let's see, I would probably, first of all, the big thing with these solutions is having an open conversation. Like, we enable you guys to have the ability to just go in and be fearless, because if you go into your customer and you say, what are you guys doing about monitoring, remote monitoring for anything, like whether it's leak or temperature or motion or whatever, air quality, they can come back to you and say, we're having a big issue with XYZ, something you never heard of, and then you go to our device catalog and I bet there's a sensor there for it. So that's number one. It's just like opening the conversation and having that comfortability to know that there is a solution that exists and that you can provide it to them. For this particular use case, air quality is an interesting topic. So depending on who your customers are, it comes from a place of businesses are looking to provide solutions that make their employees realize that they care about them. So that's what's really going on here. So this whole come back to work thing with COVID, everybody we talk to is, how can I provide a solution internally that show that my employees are going to come back and they're going to be safe? So this air quality sensor is a great conversation starter to say, hey, I know you're trying to get your employees back to work. It's the most important thing right now. What are you doing about tracking air quality levels inside of your building? And what are you doing about actually reporting on that so you can have a log that shows, hey, it proves that you are logging those air quality and that you're doing something about it when the air quality is out of whack, whether it's TVOC or CO2. So that's probably how that would be my intro question. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and maybe there's also a couple things I would look at. In Europe, I know that there's actually some mandates coming down, and mandates are some of the best things to sell solutions. So the mandates that are happening in Europe right now is CO2 monitoring. So elementary schools, elderly facilities, they are requiring by law that they are monitoring CO2. And this is a really great device because it's easy to install. It's beautiful. It's got the LED display in here. For so many reasons, this is a really commercial ready device. So I would target those types of customers and then specifically look at your customer list. If you have hospitals, for example, they do care about indoor air quality. So just that broad conversation of, hey, what are you doing for indoor air quality? Or pressure, like the whole thing about pressurized rooms. That's important to those types of organizations too. So yeah.
Great question, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so another question. Tomo, first of all, is saying, beautiful design. Congratulations, Ursalink. Greetings from Slovenia.
Ooh.
So we agree. That's why we wanted to get on today and talk about this device, because it's one of the more beautiful devices that's out there. And, you would not think that that's that important, but you know what? It really is. This kind of device is sitting inside of a room where people are walking around, and you don't want some ugly, clunky device sitting there. And this thing it looks great.
And it's got the display here is really critical, right? Like you can just walk by this thing and see the temperature, the humidity, and everything. It's got it all like right on the display. That's one of my favorite parts about it. Is it just actually has that outbound display, and it's e-ink, right? So it doesn't cost a fortune, right? Like it's done a great job of making this.
And you could read a book on it.
And you can also upload your ebooks.
Yeah, that part I made. Okay, now Edwin is asking, can this device connect to TTN, the Things Network?
Mm-hmm.
How would you answer that one?
Okay, yeah, let's do this. I'm going to share my screen again. So here, I'm going to pull up the My Devices marketplace here, right? So one of the really cool things about what we do and how we really simplify, make your lives easier as integrators, right, is the LoRa network server is a big step. It's part of what we call the first mile of IoT, which has to do with acquiring devices, provisioning devices, programming devices, connecting devices to a LoRa network server, decoding the data, forwarding it to an application, like all of this work that needs to be done that people get stuck like for months, for years, and they spend money and money and money on this, and we cover all of that. So if you were to come to our marketplace, and we actually have this Ursalink, so everybody can go here and grab their device, to sample this. But if you were to just add this to the cart here, you could even select at the top here, you have a couple options. Number one, you can grab one of our pre-provisioned gateways, which would be you just plug it in, scan it, turn the device on, scan it, and everything just works inside of that app.
And it includes the LoRa network.
With the LoRa network server included on it.
Right, so all included in the price.
Yep.
It's all included. Okay, go on.
So, and it can be an Ethernet gateway or a cellular gateway. Or you can go and click on the network tab here and choose the network server that you want that device to work off of. So if you have a gateway in your house and you've been using it to test or whatever, and it's on the Things network and it's already connected, you could just select the Things network and then select the devices that you want, all of these. And when those show up, you'll scan it in and it will immediately connect to your gateway that's provisioned on the Things network, or Helium, or Actility, or any of the other EveryNet or whatever you saw on that dropdown. So short answer, yes, it does work with the Things network. Long answer, yes, and we've made it incredibly easy to get up and running.
And do me a favor, scroll down a little bit because actually, I'm sorry. Just to reiterate, the scanning looks like this, like in that first little graphic that he's showing there. You pick it up, you scan in the device, and it immediately connects, and all the data is normalized. You can then set alerts, you can do reports, you can forward it to any platform. We just make it super easy for you to get it on board.
Yep.
So Jessica, is there anything that we've missed about the Ursalink device that you think we should tell the audience about? Anything in terms of use cases or anything in general that you think we should share?
Okay. First, I want to share that in this screen, that is an e-ink screen, and the display format is not fixed. So you have 6 optional choice that you can customize. How do you want to put the parameters where on the screen? So you can customize it. So you have 6 different options. And the second is about, as I mentioned, that IoT in a box. I think you did great work that you can provide the value-added services for the customers, that you can pre-configure everything and just scan the QR code and log into your platform. And besides, you can combine different brands or different vendors, the LoRaWAN-based sensors into the solution. So I think today we're not just introducing this ambience monitoring sensor only, but I think we are introducing a whole solution, a platform that you can add more sensors, such as we'd like to provide a very comfortable environment for our customers when they stay inside. So ambience monitoring is just one of them. Of course, you can expand it. You can add more other sensors like the water leakage sensor, and the door and window open and close sensor, or people counter, or some other meeting room occupancy sensors. So you can add more other sensors into the solution, and you can expand it. And of course, bring you additional business, yes, continuously. So next, 2 weeks later, on the beginning of December, we are going to introduce our water leakage sensor for the spot detection and for the cable sensitive detection for the big area, and also for our magnetic contact switch for the door and the window close and open status detection. So I think we can add more other different types of sensors to build up the whole ambience monitoring solution for the smart business, smart office, and the smart museums. Yes.
Yeah, and we actually have some of the other sensors in our store as well. So it's not just the ambience monitoring sensor, but you do have a nice CO2 sensor on the side, distance level sensors, extraordinary, extreme temperature sensors, which is actually quite important for COVID, for the new vaccines and the cold chain. So you have lots of customers that potentially need to do that. So you'll see there's lots of different Ursalink sensors. The other thing is, Jessica had mentioned the ability to change on screen. But we also have the ability in the application, when you go to settings, you could turn off like different things. So if somebody wants to see pressure or CO2, you can turn those things off into there as well.
Yeah, and that's important just really quickly, because a lot of times on the actual reports that the end user gets, they don't want to see a report with all the stuff they don't necessarily care about from a reporting standpoint. So you can kind of hide those and only show, the ones that are valuable to them.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think we're getting towards the end of our presentation. If there's other Q&A questions that want to come in, please type them. I know Matt is asking, is there artificial intelligence that can be applied to your data for COVID-19 monitoring? You want to answer that one, or you want me to answer that one?
You take it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is where I use integrations. So the answer is that artificial intelligence, things like TensorFlow and other artificial intelligence applications are really good out there. So what you would do is you can just forward that data, straight into those applications, and then you can do some artificial intelligent algorithms against that. That's how I would solve that problem. And then one of the attendees here is asking, how does the white label of the app work? So I'll let you answer that question.
Yeah, so here's what's really cool. If you guys wanted to get up and running with the Ursalink, any of the Ursalink sensors really, but especially the one we're talking about today, you can buy it on the site. Just like what I showed you can pick the network server, or we'll provide you with a gateway that you can use. It's all pre-provisioned. And that falls under our pilot catalog there, category. So no monthly recurring, you just pay for the hardware. You can get a couple devices in and just start playing with things and see how the app works. That runs on our IoT in a box for not for commercial use application. So that's how that works. Then when you get comfortable with it, you said, okay,
Hey guys, we're gonna try and finish it here. Can you see us again?
Yes.
And can you hear us?
you have to turn your audio on.
Yes.
Okay, great. They can hear us. Okay. Sorry about that. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty there, but go ahead, Cameron. Go ahead and explain what you were saying.
Okay, so on the price plan sheet that you see here, you can pilot in that first catalog, for $0 a month, and just start to play with things. And then once you figure out what you want to do and you're ready to go to market, you're ready to actually commercialize, we have 3 different plans that are commercial plans that you can jump on. So authorized, gold, and then platinum. Each of those plans, number one, you get a certain number of devices with each of those plans, but most importantly with those 3 plans, you get different features, right? So with the authorized plan, which is the lowest one, that's when you get access to our backend console, which we didn't go into today, but that really is where you can make your business. Like you get to manage multiple customers, remote access accounts. You see the device registry, upload devices. There's all kinds of things. You can disable accounts if customers aren't paying you. You can really manage. It's like super admin access to manage everything. As we jump into gold, that's when you can start. That's what allows you to use your own domain. So it'll be your address rather than .mydevices.com. With all of these, you get your logo and your colors. So it's your brand. But with the gold plan, that's when you can actually put it on your own domain. With platinum, that's when we really start developing like a really tight partnership with each other. There's project management resources that you get from our side. There's engineering, time and dedicated resources for that, marketing, sales support, and also lead distribution. So what we do is we have vertical sites that we stand up and actually drive traffic to those sites for people that are interested in air quality monitoring, temperature monitoring, leak detection, predictive maintenance solutions. And when those leads come in, we identify their region and their industry, and then we find the platinum partner of ours that is in that location and actually give those leads out to that person to actually close the deal. So for specific pricing info, I'd suggest, we'll send out a Calendly link and we can talk pricing and discuss the next steps if you are interested in commercializing. So we'll send out my Calendly link so you can schedule some time with me to discuss that. But that's basically the breakdown. Once you want to white label, you jump on one of those commercial plans. It takes about a week to get something delivered to you. You've got your app, your console, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, great. And so we want to thank Jessica and Mona. Jessica, thank you so much for doing this in the middle of the night. You were a superstar. And hopefully we get to bring in some more of your devices later for some other shows. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks very much for inviting us.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you. It's
us.
awesome.
Here, but that's okay. All right, thank you so much, everybody. Please go ahead, and if you need to get some more information, reach out to us, and we look forward to seeing you on our next live show. Have a great day.
See you guys. Thanks.
See you later.
See you. Bye.
Bye.